The former president of the United States of America, Theodore Roosevelt, said, and I quote, "With a great moral issue involved, neutrality does not serve righteousness. For to be neutral between right and wrong is to serve wrong."
Ghana's president just said that at the United Nations General Assembly, and what happened next proved exactly why he needed to say it. If you don't know me, my name is TJ, I'm Nigerian and British mixed, and on this channel we talk about African geopolitics.
Resolution A/80/L48 entitled Declaration of the Trafficking of Enslaved Africans and Racialized Chattel Enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. Will all delegations confirm that their votes are accurately reflected on the screen? The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 123, against 3, abstentions 52. Therefore, draft resolution A/80/L48 is adopted.
So let me break down what just happened. The United Nations General Assembly voted on Resolution A/80/L48, a resolution to formally recognize the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity, and to open the door for reparations for African nations. 123 countries voted in favor. Only 3 voted against: the United States, Israel, and Argentina. 52 countries then also abstained, refusing to even take a position. Those countries included the United Kingdom, Portugal, Spain, France, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium. And there's no prizes for guessing that those countries are not random here. These are the exact nations that ran the transatlantic slave trade for 300 years. They trafficked approximately 12.5 million Africans across the Atlantic. They built their entire economies on stolen African labor, and when they were asked to simply recognize that as a crime, they could not even bring themselves to vote yes. They just stayed silent. Now, you need to understand something important about how the United Nations works. I've made videos before about the General Assembly and the United States Security Council. We're talking about 193 member states, all of whom have the right to vote in the General Assembly. And no country in the Security Council has veto power. So because of the numbers that we've seen here, the resolution passed the General Assembly, but the General Assembly resolutions are not enforceable. The only body that can actually enforce anything is the United Nations Security Council, which has just 15 members. 5 of those hold permanent power, permanent veto power, which means if anyone else votes, those 5 countries can stop it with a single vote. Those countries are the United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China. Do you see the problem here? 3 of the 5 nations that can veto anything binding resolution into reparations are the United States, which voted against, the United Kingdom and France, which abstained. The nations that are most responsible for the slave trade have built themselves a permanent escape hatch. They will never be held accountable unless they agree to hold themselves accountable. And as of this vote, they have made it very clear that they have no intention of doing, even acknowledging, that this was a crime.
You may have noticed that some of the videos on this channel have been removed over the past few weeks. On top of that, some have been demonetized. I've accepted that as a channel that fights for African sovereignty, that pushes back against imperialism and neocolonialism, there's a chance that this channel will be removed altogether. It's already happened to some other significant channels that talk about the same kind of stuff. That's why I asked those of you who want to support this channel to join my Substack. There's a free plan which acts as an insurance because we're connected email to email. So if anything does happen to this channel, we can still regroup and relaunch. There's also a paid tier for those who want to support further. It directly helps sustain this work, and it's the cost equivalent to spending on a cup of coffee about once a month. There's a link in the description below, and I look forward to connecting with you there.
The United States has used its veto power 89 times in the entire history of the United Nations. 51 of those times, it did it specifically on behalf of Israel. So the same country that votes against recognizing the slave trade has used the majority of its vetoes in the UN to shield one nation. And that tells you exactly where their priorities lie. So here's the bigger strategic picture. The world has already set precedents for reparations. It has done reparations many times before. They simply just refuse to extend it to Africa on some type of principle. For example, Germany has paid over $900 billion to Holocaust reparations since 1952. That is over 70 years of continuous payments. In 2025 alone, Germany distributed approximately $530 million in direct compensation to over 115,000 survivors in 84 countries. And they are still paying. The original 1952 Luxembourg Agreement paid Israel $714 million, which is the equivalent roughly to $18.6 billion today. On top of that, Israel is the largest cumulative recipient of US foreign aid in history, receiving over $150 billion since its founding. The current 10-year security agreement guarantees Israel $3.8 billion per year in military aid. 2 years since October 2023, the US has spent $21.7 billion on military aid to Israel. That is $21.7 billion in 2 years. And it does not stop there. In 1998, the United States paid $1.6 billion in reparations to 82,219 Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II. Each survivor received $20,000 and a formal presidential apology. Ronald Reagan was the one that signed it into law and admitted the internment was driven by, I quote, race prejudice, war hysteria, and the failure of political leadership. That was a payment representing 4 years of internment of 120,000 people. The transatlantic slave trade lasted 300 years and involved 12.5 million Africans. A University of the West Indies study from 2023 calculated the former slave-owning states at $107.8 trillion if you made some type of parity with what has been paid out before. Britain would owe somewhere in the range of 24 trillion. And speaking of Britain, when they abolished slavery in 1833, they paid £20 million in compensation, but they didn't pay it to the enslaved. They of course paid it to the slave owners. They bought the slaves freedom. That 20 million was 40% of the British Treasury's entire annual budget, and the loan taken out to make those payments was not fully repaid until 2015. Living British taxpayers were serving a debt that compensated slave owners well into the 21st century. So just think about the impact that that precedent sets. And then let's talk about the elephant in the room. Israel, a nation whose entire existence was built on the principle of reparative justice. This country is the country that voted against recognizing the slave trade as a crime. And then there's Argentina. Let's not forget them. After World War II, as many as 5,000 Nazi war criminals fled to Argentina, including Adolf Eichmann and the architect of the Holocaust itself, Joseph Mengele. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the names right, but he was known as the Angel of Death. President Juan Perón personally authorized the escape routes and then later called the Nuremberg trials a disgrace. The country that sheltered the perpetrators of the very atrocity that generated $90 billion in reparations just voted against reparations for Africa.
What President Mahama is asking for in terms of reparations is nothing unprecedented, right? Other groups have received reparations. You have the Japanese, you have the Holocaust survivors, and now African Americans, people of African descent, want reparations for the harm that had been done to them. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. But however, in order for the UN to actually do something about this, it has to go through the UN Security Council. Otherwise, this is merely a resolution that will just elevate the conversation politically and diplomatically.
So what she just said is that the principle of reparative justice is already established. Japanese Americans received it. Holocaust survivors received it. The question has never been whether reparations are possible. The question is whether Africa and the people of African descent are considered worthy of the same justice. And this vote actually answered that question. 123 nations voted yes. The African Union, the Caribbean nations, South American nations, Asian nations all stood together, essentially the global South, which happens to be the majority on the planet, by the way. But the same structures that were built to protect the interests of former colonial powers are now being exposed. The world can see who abstained. The world can see who voted no. And the world can see why. Africa must use this moment, push for reform at the Security Council, or perhaps make their own systems altogether. The only way that you actually get a seat at the table is if Africa would actually get its act together and become an economic force. I made a video already about how Iran is using their leverage against the United States, despite America being a stronger military force, and how Africa could do the same with its own minerals. And if you're interested in seeing how Africa could actually leverage its power, I suggest you watch the video on the screen that you're seeing right now. See you there next.